Have you ever heard of a hero who defeated an entire army's commander with nothing more than a tent peg? This isn't a scene from a blockbuster movie. It's one of the most astonishing and dramatic stories from the ancient world, a tale of courage, strategy, and an unlikely heroine who changed the course of a war. Prepare to meet Jael, a woman whose name echoes through millennia as a symbol of decisive, if brutal, justice. Her story is often overshadowed, tucked away in the book of Judges, but today we're pulling it into the spotlight. Who was this woman? And what drove her to commit an act so shocking it is still debated thousands of years later? Stay with me as we unravel the story of Jael and the nail. To truly understand Jael's incredible act, we need to set the stage. Imagine the northern lands of ancient Israel, a landscape of rolling hills and fertile valleys. But for the Israelites, it was a land of fear. For 20 long years, they had been suffering under the harsh and oppressive rule of Jabin, the king of Canaan, who reigned from the mighty city of Hazor. Jabin wasn't just a distant tyrant. His power was enforced by a fearsome military commander named Sisera. Sisera wasn't just any general. The scriptures tell us he commanded a terrifying force of 900 iron chariots. In that era, an iron chariot was the equivalent of a modern-day tank. It was a weapon of shock and awe, designed to smash through infantry lines and instill terror. For 2 decades, the clatter of those iron wheels was the sound of Israel's subjugation. The people were crushed, their spirits broken, and their freedom was a distant memory. They cried out to God, desperate for a deliverer. And a deliverer answered, but not in the way anyone expected. The spiritual and political leader of Israel at this time was a woman named Deborah. She was a prophetess, a judge, who sat under a palm tree and dispensed wisdom and divine guidance. She was the heart of the nation's resistance. Hearing the cries of her people, Deborah received a message from God. She summoned a man named Barak from the tribe of Naphtali. The command was clear and direct. Go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun and lead them to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River and give him into your hands. It was a divine promise of victory, but Barak hesitated. Facing Sisera's 900 iron chariots was a suicide mission in human terms. His faith wavered and he gave Deborah an ultimatum. If you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go. He needed her presence, her divine connection, as a visible assurance of God's favor. Deborah agreed to go, but with a powerful and prophetic warning. Her response would change the course of history and set the stage for our story's true hero. She told Barak, "Certainly I will go with you, but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." At that moment, Barak likely thought she was referring to herself. He couldn't have imagined the twist that fate, or rather divine providence, had in store. So the plan was set. Barak gathered his 10,000 men, a lightly armed militia of foot soldiers, and positioned them on the slopes of Mount Tabor, overlooking the valley. He had the high ground, but below, Sisera was amassing his iron legion, confident that he could crush this peasant rebellion with overwhelming force. The clash was inevitable. The fate of Israel hung in the balance, and a prophecy about a woman's triumph lingered in the air, waiting to be fulfilled. As Sisera's chariots advanced into the valley of the Kishon River, the battle began. But this was no ordinary fight. Just as Deborah had foretold, divine intervention turned the tide. A massive storm broke out. The sky opened up, and torrential rain turned the valley floor into a quagmire of mud. The Kishon River, normally a gentle stream, swelled into a raging torrent. Sisera's greatest weapon, his iron chariots, became his greatest liability. The heavy wheels sank into the mud, trapping the horses and soldiers. Chaos erupted, the mighty chariot army was rendered useless, bogged down, and vulnerable. Barak's forces charged down from Mount Tabor and fell upon the panicked and immobilized Canaanite army. The victory was absolute. The entire army was wiped out, but one man escaped. Sisera, the feared commander, seeing his forces destroyed and his own life in peril, abandoned his chariot and fled the battlefield on foot. He ran for his life, alone and desperate, a fallen general stripped of his power and his army. Exhausted and hunted, Sisera ran in a direction he thought was safe. He headed for the settlement of Heber the Canaanite. The Canaanites were a nomadic clan, descendants of Moses' father-in-law, and they had a peace treaty with King Jabin of Hazor. Sisera believed he would find refuge and safety there. He stumbled towards a tent, the home of Heber. It was there that he was met not by Heber, but by his wife, Jael. Seeing the desperate, high-ranking fugitive, Jael didn't hesitate. She went out to meet him, her actions seemingly offering sanctuary. "Come, my lord, come right in," she said. "Don't be afraid." Her words were a balm to the terrified commander. He entered her tent, the private space of a woman, a place where, by customs of hospitality, he should have been completely safe. Jael covered him with a blanket, hiding him from any potential pursuers. Sisera, parched from his flight, asked for water. Jael went a step further. Instead of water, she opened a skin of milk, a richer, more nourishing drink, and gave it to him. This act of lavish hospitality would have completely disarmed him. Convinced he was safe, Sisera gave her one final instruction. "Stand in the doorway of the tent. If someone comes and asks you, 'Is anyone here?' say no." Then, utterly spent, the mighty general fell into a deep, exhausted sleep. This is the moment the story pivots from a tale of war to an act of breathtaking audacity. While Sisera slept, protected by the laws of hospitality and hidden within her home, Jael made a decision. She wasn't an Israelite bound by Deborah's command, but she saw the oppressor of God's people helpless before her. The prophecy echoed. The Lord would deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. Jael knew what she had to do. Quietly, she picked up two common tools from her daily life. She was a nomad. These were the instruments of her existence. In one hand, she took a tent peg, a long, sharp wooden or metal stake used to anchor the tent ropes to the ground. In the other, she took a mallet, the heavy hammer used to drive those pegs into the hard earth. She was armed not with a sword or a spear, but with the tools of a homemaker, a tent dweller. With silent, steady steps, she approached the sleeping commander. The man whose name had terrorized the nation for 20 years was now completely vulnerable. There was no battle, no struggle. With grim determination, Jael placed the point of the tent peg against Sisera's temple, and with the strength born of conviction, she raised the mallet and drove the peg through his head and into the ground beneath. The tyrant was dead. The prophecy was fulfilled. Just as the deed was done, Barak arrived, hot on Sisera's trail, still searching for the fugitive general. Jael went out to meet him, her expression likely a mixture of resolve and triumph. "Come," she said, "I will show you the man you're looking for." She led him into her tent. And there, Barak saw the fulfillment of Deborah's prophecy. It wasn't he, the general of Israel's army, who had been given the honor of defeating the enemy commander. It was Jael, a woman from a foreign clan, armed with household tools. The sight must have been staggering, the feared Sisera pinned to the floor of a woman's tent. Jael's action wasn't just an assassination, it was a powerful statement. It demonstrated that God can use anyone from any walk of life to achieve his purposes. He used the storm to disable an army of chariots, and he used a woman with a tent peg to eliminate its leader. The story of Jael and Sisera concludes one of the most powerful chapters in the book of Judges. Following this decisive victory, the Bible says, The land had peace for 40 years. Jael's courage brought an entire generation of rest and freedom to the people of Israel. So what do we make of Jael? Her story is complex and for many, deeply unsettling. She broke sacred laws of hospitality to carry out her act. Yet in the very next chapter, in the victory song of Deborah and Barak, Jael is celebrated. The song declares, "Most blessed of women be Jael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite, most blessed of tent-dwelling women. She is praised for her decisiveness and courage." Her story teaches us that heroism doesn't always wear armor or carry a sword. Sometimes it wields the tools at hand. It shows that courage can be found in the most unexpected people and places. Jael saw an opportunity to end a cycle of brutal oppression, and she seized it with unflinching resolve. She reminds us that one person's decisive action, guided by conviction, can indeed change the world, bringing peace out of conflict and freedom out of tyranny. Her legacy is a powerful, if challenging, testament to the fact that strength and deliverance can come from the most unlikely of hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of history's most dramatic tales. The story of Jael is a potent reminder of the hidden strength within the ordinary. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the powerful and often overlooked stories that have shaped our world. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. We love hearing from you, so please drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on Jael's actions.